Now we are going to see about the water resources. 80% of Earth's surface is covered by the water. All living organisms have nearly 60 to 95% of water in their bodies. When you take tree, it contains 60% of water. In animals, there will be 50 to 65% of water. The water can be exist in three states. One is the solid, another one is the liquid, third one is the gas. On the environment, the hydrological cycle is required to maintain the water on the environment. There are three steps are available in the hydrological cycle. One is the evaporation, second one is the condensation and precipitation, third one is the transpiration and respiration. First one, we are going to see about the evaporation. The heat from the sun produces the evaporation of water in river, ponds and lakes. Next, we are going to see about the condensation and precipitation. The gaseous state water in the atmosphere condense to give liquid water as a rain forms precipitation. Next one, we are going to see about the transpiration and respiration. Plants absorb water by roots and lose it through leaves. This process is known as transpiration. Both plants and animals loses carbon dioxide and water to produce energy by breaking sugars in their body. This process is called respiration. The process of evaporation, condensation and transpiration is called hydrological cycle. Now we are going to see about the types of water. There are two types of water. One is the surface water, another one is the underground water. For surface water, we can say standing water bodies as the example and flowing water bodies as the example. So the surface water will be divided into two types. One is the standing water bodies, another one is the flowing water bodies. For standing water bodies, we can say lake and reservoir as the example. For flowing water bodies, streams and rivers as the example. Next one, we are going to see about the underground water. First, among the two types, first we are going to see about the surface water in the elaborate manner. The water stored on the surface of the earth is called surface water. For surface water, we can say standing water body as the example. Let us take lakes. There are three types of lakes are available. One is the oligotrophic, another one is the eurotrophic, and the third one is the diastrophic lakes. If it is the oligotrophic lakes, it will be deep, clear, deficient in nutrients. If it is the eurotrophic lakes, it contain more nutrients and more turbid. If it is the diastrophic lakes, it will be colored and it contain low pH and it will be shallow at nature. Now we are going to see about the reservoirs. Reservoirs are larger than the lakes. Next is estuaries. Junction of river and sea water is referred as the estuaries. Next we are going to see about the flowing water bodies. They originate from the precipitation point and flows in the streams and rivers. Next we are going to see about the underground water. Water found in the deep of the earth is called underground water. In the underground water there will be two types are available. One is the aquifer. The layer of highly permeable rock containing water is referred as the aquifer. For example, layers of sand and gravel is example for the aquifer. Now we are going to see about the types of aquifer. There will be two types of aquifers are available. One is the unconfined, another one is the confined. If it is the unconfined, water collects over clay or less permeable rock. If it is the confined aquifer, water collects over impermeable rock. Now we are going to see about the uses of water. First we are going to see the conceptive use. Water is completely utilized and it is not reused as referred as the conceptive use. For example, we can say in domestic we are using the water, and then in industry also we are using the water. This is referred as the conceptive use. Non-conceptive use, water is not completely utilized and it is reused. For example, we can say hydropower plant. Now we are going to see other important of water. It is used for drinking, cooking, washing, and bathing. And hotels, theaters, educational institution, offices are using the water for agricultural activities. We require water. The refineries, paper, pulp, and iron, steel industry require water. In the same way, the water is essential for living organism. And then diluting pollutant, moderating the climate. The importance of water is very essential. Now we are going to see about the effects of overutilization of water. When we utilize the water over, there will be some effects on the environment. First one, decrease of groundwater. The second effect is groundwater subsidence. Third one is the lowering of water table. Fourth one is the intrusion of salt water. Fifth one is the earthquake and landslides. Sixth one is the pollution of water. A decrease of groundwater. Due to increased usage, the groundwater level get decreased. The reason is the less rainfall and then more building stops water intake. Next, groundwater subsidence. When the groundwater withdrawal is more than its recharge rate, the sediments in the aquifer get compacted. Due to we are facing some problems, that is structural damage in buildings, and then fracture in pipes, reversing the flow of canals and tidal flooding, lowering of water table. Third effect is the lowering of water table, restituting the equilibrium state of the reservoir by overutilization of groundwater in earth and semi-earth area. Next, we are going to see the fourth effect, that is intrusion of salt water. In coastal areas, over exploitation of groundwater leads to intrusion of salt water from sea. This water cannot be used for drinking and agricultural purposes. Next, the other effect is the earthquake and landslides. Over exploitation of groundwater leads to earthquake and landslides. And then pollution of water. Fertilities pollute the groundwater during the over exploitation.